Hey, here we are again, America. Deer Hunter DVM coming back at you again with another kind of trail camera product review here. I want to do a quick review on these Tasco brand 10 megapixel digital trail cameras that most people are buying from Walmart. A lot of times you can find these between 28 and $38. Into the year last year, I got a bunch of these on clearance for 28 bucks, and I bought a handful of them, and really I've just had the year to kind of stretch my legs with them and try them out. So just give you a fair and honest, balanced review. First off, latches on these things, not bad for a price point, but they are flimsy. I had one break on me. They are really not very durable. They're cheap. What do you expect for a $28 camera? And that's going to be probably the theme of the review today. You get in the housing here. The housing's actually not too bad. It seals up pretty good. There is a good, a little gasket around the edge here where the door meets, and it actually doesn't seal too bad. I like the idea of having two latches on this thing to get a fairly decent seal around that gasket, but it's not too bad. On the guts of the camera, the inside, these little PIR lights, they're not protected in here, so you kind of got to be careful with them. And it's just a basic, simple LED screen. You just turn it on, and it gives you the message there that there is no card in this camera, but they actually program pretty easy. Another thing I don't like about it is how the infrared sensor is actually got a little small gasket seal around this door, and it actually is not sealed super great, and it lets moisture egress happen down into this area here, which is right by your switches. I don't care for that. It's not sealed right there very well, in my opinion, and it kind of a flaw of the design of this camera. I don't care for that. One thing I do like about it, it does have a mounting lug on here, so for a $28 camera, that's a good option to have. I really like having the option to get those cameras up in the air and on an aftermarket hanger here. Let's talk about the strap that came with it. It was really cheap, like break it type cheap, but it's only really got two settings. It does have it doesn't have time lapse like a lot of higher end cameras will, but it does have video capability and still capability, but the video capability it has is quite limited. So I just use them on still. Runs on 8 AA's, and let's see, I got about 2,500 photos from August to now, which is December the 17th, which isn't bad for a camera that's only taken 3 photos in each trigger. Now, here's the downside to this thing, and let me show you. I'm going to spin this camera around and show you why I think this camera probably is not your best choice even for a cheap camera. Light, dark, dark. Light, dark, dark. Light, dark, dark. See the trend here? The camera's shutter does not want to keep up. Night photos aren't bad, but they're not great either. Night photos actually are a bit more consistent than day photos in this camera. Light, dark, dark. The first photo in daylight for this camera is actually normal, well lit, and the next two are much darker. So when we're asking for usable images out of this camera, it doesn't really give you a whole lot of good usable images. Daylight photos aren't bad, but they get worse as this camera's performance goes on through the year. Again, this is still August. Just a general, we're just running through this thing just to see its performance for you, and we'll spin it around here in a moment and kind of finish up. You know, you get a little bit of washout with these, but you're going to with a lot of PIR cameras, especially at this price point. I did get, let me show you some of the neatest photos that I got here. I did get a fairly cool series of photos of a buck bedded down here. I thought that was pretty cool. Also got some sketchy methers. Don't trust anyone that looks like these guys with carrying a big old Walmart sack full of something. That's not normal. So those are some decent photos. Okay, there you have it, guys. That Tasco 10 megapixel camera that most guys are getting from Walmart, kind of the review on it. I crunched some numbers here. I pulled 3 of these that have been out since the last week of August, and it's now the 17th of December, and I got roughly between 3 cameras, I got just shy of 6,000 images, which is not too bad for cameras that are only taking a 3-round burst at a time. However, if I really take my time and go through those cards, and I just count usable images versus non-usable, these things are only giving you just a shade above 60% usable images, like 61-ish%. That's not good. And these cameras, you know, at their price point, may be okay for somebody wanting to use them on public land, and when you're hunting public land and having to deal with other people maybe stealing your cameras, chances are somebody making off with one of these $28 hunks of junk is probably not going to make you cry too hard over somebody taking one of your higher end cameras. And he's only going to get a camera that works about 50% of the time anyway, so who gives a damn? But if you want a higher end camera that's a bit more reliable on the data that you're getting for the return on investment of not dollar figure per camera, but really more the return on the human intrusion investment, these are junk. I think that's the biggest flaw of them. If I can't trust a camera where I'm putting them to give me as much usable image data as I can, for the sake of the human intrusion I have to go put them in and take them out, then it's not worth the tinker's damn. So what I'm going to do with these cameras, I am going to bundle all of them up, take the batteries out of them, and I'm going to sell them on eBay probably, or in a Facebook forum. So that's my take on them. You know, again, probably not the camera for me, but if the price point suits you and you're okay with that moderate performance, then they're not horrible. I did get a few cool usable images, but at any rate, that's my take on them. So thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on down the road.